look like omelets.
So our spirits is very high. It's not broken yet.
That's good. Okay. Against what are you protesting?
Well, you know, I think now everybody knows in this country and even in the world what happened on 3rd of December. Again, a manipulation, again a distortion of information in the public media, and again lies and lies. This time the image of the former head of judge was blurred, just like if he were a criminal. And then we asked an investigation, what happened, an inquiry. We asked the company to do it. They made a so-called investigation, which was something like they are doing in the 50s, when you have already the verdict before even they start the process. So they got a scapegoats, 3 persons, a person who was responsible for one of the editions when it was shown on air, the editor who cut the images, and the reporter. And we knew already, because we asked these colleagues and other colleagues what's going on, and they said that actually there was an unwritten oral command, like from the top bosses of the news section, that the former head of the judge, he cannot be seen on the news programs. He was like, I would say, like persona non grata for whatever probably private reasons. That's what we know. It was not just this time, but before. We knew already also that there was an interview made with the former judge, which was never mentioned in any statement of the company until so far. We don't know what happened with this interview, why he was interviewed, if it was really a fatal mistake, as the company says, that somebody misunderstood the never return command, then why they made an interview with the person and why this interview was never mentioned and never shown up. So this was just the top of the iceberg and was the last drop in the glass. You know, you were here before, you know, all the process was going on in the Hungarian media. They are firing people on whatever, no professional ground. They put their people who are just distorting information, they make lies, and they are just deceiving public. And we demanded now that this should be stopped. We demanded all those responsible, the real responsible person, they should be fired immediately, and they should just never be employed by public media ever.
But Daniel Papp was fired, or?
No, that's how you should understand the news and the statement. No. After our hunger strike, which started 1 week ago, I started my phone with my other colleague, Szabó Jaranka. We are both vice president of the Hungarian Television and Filmmakers Independent Trade Unions. We started it. It's 2 p.m. and there was no official contact with us. But finally, after 4 days of hunger strike, even though they said already 10 days ago that everything was inquired, investigated, and those responsible were held responsible, now they finally dismissed, fired one of the top responsible for all the news, disinformation and lies what's going on in this case and before in the Hungarian media. This was Gábor Élő, who I would use the term of Hungarian, he made an élő terror, which means live terror. This is his family name. We just make a kind of game, but it was real. That those who tried to say no, they were fired or they were very seriously threatened. So he was fired. But the other guy who was here now finally responsible, Daniel Papp, he was just dismissed one of his functions, which is head of news of the MTV-nél. But he's still heading another news department because he was so good manipulating Cohn-Bendit's report 6 months ago. So he was appointed a few months ago, so heading the current affairs department and documentary department. So just, you know, it's like a theater. You take these guys from one position, but he can make the lies, the distortion, the manipulation in his other positions. No, we say he should leave this company immediately, not in any position he can hold. And there is other 2 guys who are directly responsible for this case and for the cases before. The 2 vice deputies, the deputies of Élő Gábor, the deputy directors. One is still Zsolt Németh, who is responsible for the control, the censorship, the manipulation on MTV news section, and the Duna news section. Now we have a combined newsroom. The guy who does the same is István Hegedűs, who got, without his name mentioned, a kind of written warning also during our hunger strike, because actually he was who directly told the editorial unity on that day, on December 3rd, that Zoltán Lomnici, the former head judge, cannot be seen in the interview, cannot be visible in the interview. So these 4 persons, they should go. Then if these 4 persons, we will stop the hunger strike, and then we can start to negotiate about how to make the investigation full, how we can stop that this would happen ever again, and how we can clean the image of the Hungarian public media.
But they gave some official declaration.
Well, that was the declarations during the protest, which was like a scene. I mean, there were many, still there are public people here, normal citizens, nothing to do with the media. They were outraged because there is an outcry that they are lying, distorting information, and that is the protest almost 10 days after the event, and the Hungarian MTV news television and the Duna news television haven't been reporting not even a single image about not just the hunger strike. If you were watching MTV news or Duna news until the protest, more than 10 days after the scandal, you couldn't know what's Lomnici case because it was never reported. And then they made a report which was also manipulated, and now 7 trade unions and even the working councils, they made another protest because they made this manipulation. But at that time, it was 15th of December, they made this kind of statement that the head of the news, Élő Gábor, is dismissed because a lack of confidence, lack of trust. And also another guy, this Pap Daniel, was dismissed one of his functions. It's not mentioning that this Pap Daniel has other function, and it's talking about still like professional mistakes, and that's why they took like these 2 persons responsible. And to make this whole incident like a tragic comedy, they were giving out free DVD with this statement to the people of protesting here, and the tickets for a free entrance of the Hungarian Television and Radio Museum, which according to our knowledge will be closed at the end of the year. People were outraged. We tried to calm the people, saying, okay, at least these DVDs you can give to somebody who might need a DVD of Hungarian classical music, but you should also ask in written forms, in emails, the company, in what sources you are giving out this free, how you manage, and how do you think that this will be the answer for all this what's going on in this building.
And you personally, you are also some kind of dismissed now because they changed the law. Are you still safe as
I am employee of this company. I'm still a foreign news editor. Would say according to my job description a senior foreign news editor, but they don't employ me as they should. But yes, I'm an employee of this. They put in statements, they never communicated with us directly. The CEO was twice in this building having negotiations with others. He never touched the floor of the hunger strikers where we are. But I was personally threatened in a way that they could fire me extraordinary, but they didn't do it. They say because they don't want to make a martyr of the freedom of press of me. So there is no martyr. I'm still here. And my colleagues, but they wanted to put me and my colleagues Szabo Jaranka in other positions, but they wanted to do it also not according to the law. We went there with a lawyer. I told them also what's the legal situation. So, okay, you tried it. It's not according to the law, so you can say goodbye.
But didn't they change the law that now you are not safe when you are working in the syndicate?
They approved the new law, but it will be probably from 1st of July. It will in effect. So I have protections, 2 kinds of protections. One kind, I'm a trade union leader. So to fire me in a normal procedure, they should have an agreement with my trade unions. So in a way, yeah, I should agree with my firing, which probably won't happen. But other protection I have, because I'm also an elected member of the Working Council of the MTV section. I got the most votes from the employees. So they should have also an agreement from this Working Council to fire me, but I'm a member, and unanimously they refused to give this agreement to agree with the firing. So there is other way they can fire me extraordinary, because then all these organs, they have just the right to express pre-order opinion, but still the employer can continue on. I mean, I've been fired from this company illegally, which was already stated by legal force by the court. From 2006 to 2009, I couldn't be working in my working place. Now I work because I was put back. I won discrimination suit on equal work, equal pay. So I don't think so that after 7 or 9 those tribunals they have any chance, but they can try.
Thank you very much.